tuning into TPR Music today. We're here with Missy Dabice of Mannequin Pussy. And how you doing today? All's well? Having a good morning?
Yeah, I'm having a nice morning. Our tour starts like in pretty much like a week from today. We'll be leaving town. So there's just kind of like that energy of
Right.
my to-do list is like things are getting crossed off, but it's also getting longer at the same time. So,
Absolutely. It never
fun
ends.
stuff. Yeah.
But I was actually going to ask about that. I know you're heading into your second leg of your tour, this one in the United States, and you have a couple of Texas dates. So I wanted to ask and kind of see what the preparation process is and kind of what you do, if there's any like pre-tour rituals, because you're stepping away from daily life for like a month.
Yeah, we've pretty much like only been on tour this year. So it does kind of feel like going back to the thing I know best. Um, uh, yeah, we've already done like 4 months of touring this year and then canceled the tour because it was just getting too much. And then now we've had like 7 weeks off to rest for this one. So yeah, like a lot of my prep for this has been like it's kind of lame, but like a lot of strength training. I've just been like working out a lot because my body was just starting to kind of break down on the last one. And I just like, I need to be as strong as possible and as healthy as possible, like mentally and physically going into this run. So I've just mostly been working out and doing therapy. So,
Do you feel like since you started your journey in music, do you have more time now for that, or do you kind of have to make time?
oh yeah, I mean, like when you first start doing anything, it's especially music, like music is not something that I think anyone enters in with the expectation that it's going to turn into your entire life, that it's going to become your complete, you know, source of like livelihood, and your profession. So like when I used to tour, years ago, like I always had another job that the day I would finish a tour, like the next morning I would be at my job in Philadelphia. So like that is a big change in my life that like over the last couple of years, when we're not touring, I actually have a few weeks to kind of focus on myself and get myself into a place of, again, just like kind of mental and physical health again. I'm really used to just being a person who was like, what do they say, burning the candle at both
Yeah, at
ends.
both ends. Yep.
Yeah, that was my state of being for like pretty much my entire life. And I think I'm still learning how to like not light both ends, but getting better at realizing that I need to just, you know,
It's a journey. It's a journey
one
for us
end at a
all.
time.
Absolutely. So I saw that you have had a couple of tour dates in Texas before, and I
Hmm.
wanted to see if you had any, like, what's your first time in Texas? What was it like? Do you have a special story?
I want to say it might have been like 2014, so like 10 years ago. Yeah, actually 10 years ago in like April, I think, I went on my first ever tour. I was playing bass for this artist, Colleen Green. So it wasn't my own project, but I was, playing in someone else's band. And I'd never been on tour before. And we played this house party in El Paso.
Mhm.
That was maybe one of the most fun house parties that I've ever played because there's something really special to me about getting to play the places in Texas. Like Texas is such a huge and beautiful state that there's so many different like little pockets of it that people skip over because like they're just gonna play Austin, they're just gonna play Dallas, they're just gonna play Houston. But like honestly, the shows I've played in like El Paso and McAllen and San Antonio have been really some of the most fun shows I've ever played. Because you can just tell like how excited the audience is to have you there.
Yeah, I saw you on your upcoming tour. You have some dates in McAllen, in Austin for ACL, and in El Paso. So that's super exciting. Speaking of like prepping, getting ready, I wanted to kind of take us into before the show. And I wanted to see if there's any like routine or ritual that you have with your bandmates or some way that y'all get together beforehand and kind of pump yourselves up.
Yeah, we definitely, I think everyone kind of becomes like in those that like hour and a half, 2 hours before we play, those are the moments where everyone kind of becomes like an island unto their own. Everyone's just kind of like focused on what it is that they personally do to prepare. Um, so like there's a lot of, there's a lot of stretching going on. There's like, I'm usually like, I've been putting my hair into like rollers. I've been really into getting my hair to be as like bouncy and glamorous as possible. And I finally figured out how to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm just like walking around with like my hair in little rollers, like doing vocal warm-ups and stuff like that. And then, picking out an outfit. I meditate, Kayleen meditates. Um, yeah, everyone just kind of is getting into their zone. And for a while we had like a little um like Mamma Mia, here we go again chant, but it's been a while since we've done that. I think we just got like too brutalized by the road that it was just for some reason saying Mamma Mia, here we go became like a little triggering or something. So
That makes
but
sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, we'll make some new tradition for this tour, I think.
I wanted to kind of turn to the I Got Heaven album, and I wanted to see, I know I took a good listen to the whole thing like over the past few days, and my favorite songs were Softly and I Got Heaven itself, but I wanted to see if you have a favorite song or if you kind of love them all equally.
No, I don't love them all equally. Softly, I really tried to cut off the record, but I got outvoted on that. And also I'd already cut another song and they were like, you need to stop. So, but I think Loud Bark is probably my favorite on the record. It's it's moody and it's like dark and it's feminine and it's full of rage and it just like has that kind of like simmering tension to it that I was really excited that we got to just like capture that so well in the studio together. Um, but yeah, Softly has really kind of also been like a sleeper. I wrote that song and I just never I didn't think I like really wrote it in the like correct key for a while, but I'm glad to hear that you enjoy it. And the audience really seems to like it too. So
Yes, my ears loved it. I loved it. So, in the I Got Heaven music video, I saw that y'all were on location and working with a lot of animals. So I wanted to kind of ask about that experience on set, what it was like working with the cows and sheep, and if you had any like funny stories.
they yeah, I loved working with them. It was basically like I just always really wanted to hug a cow.
Mhm.
So it was like, okay, well, probably like my best chance for being able to do that is we like are able to cast a cow in this music video. So lifelong dream kind of fulfilled meeting Gigi, the baby calf in it. Like you have to let like the instinct of like human dominance over animals, I think in is too violently used. And I feel like when you're in that space with them and you really see them as creatures who you are both like sharing this planet with, it's very special. And like I would never try to make them do so. Like really like they are the star and like whatever it is they're doing, like I'm just gonna follow. Like they have to set the tone for it. Um but really the more interesting story is I think from the album cover, because that was also like a real pig that was on it, and that pig, like that sweet pig, like I think he was a little nervous at first because we were also on this like 4 foot high drum riser. So like I was like naked with these long hair extensions, the pig's there, and like off, like what you don't see on the album is obviously like our team and all my friends who like were around like feeding the pig to
Yeah.
try to get him to pose like in the right way that we needed him to. So like feeding him slop and carrots and like all like and his owner slash mom was around, like, also guiding us in the process. But like at one point he just took a huge dump like right on the platform. So it was just like, kind of covered in.
There you go. I'd call that a Texan experience. moving on to your latest release, the collaboration with Destroy Boys and Scowl, You Hear Yes. I wanted to see kind of what the collaboration process was like between y'all and getting together like creatively, coming from different groups and musical processes. How do you kind of make a mesh?
Well, I mean, it was just like I feel like it's more of like a feature than a collab. Like it was a song that Destroy Boys had written, and I met Alexia and Vi back in 2019 because they toured with us. So I've known them for years now, and they had, just like reached out to tell me that they wrote the song and that they really wanted to invite myself and Kat from Scowl to sing or like kind of scream some verses on it. So I happened to be in Los Angeles at the time that they were recording it, so just like really the kind of the timing was perfect, and I was able to go into the studio with them and just kind of like try some things out. But yeah, it was kind of my, it's like sort of in a way like my first time doing something like that where like another artist has written a song, but like there's a little section that they're like saving for you to kind of put your imprint onto. So it was exciting to do because I like being able to experiment in that way with other people's music.
Speaking of like group dynamics, I wanted to kind of check and see what the dynamic is like with the band.
Yeah, I mean, like we are all so different. We're just such different people who have like kind of almost like softly crashed into each other in terms of this like creative project. And so I think that's kind of like what makes our collaboration so special is that we are so different and we have these different perspectives and talents and just like ways of seeing things that are kind of always pushing us to do something like bigger and better. I mean, I feel like really lucky to get the experience of being in a band with these people and being able to create all together. Because I'm just like such a I enjoy groups. Like I enjoy like working in a group to achieve something. Like doing it off on my own alone, I would be very quick to kind of give up on something, but having the energy of a group dynamic and where everyone is kind of as invested and wants to see it through can be really inspiring. Um but like that's the bands are increasingly so rare, and I think that's just like honestly a product more of capitalism, that it's really difficult to be in a position as a band where like everyone is making a living wage, because when you're splitting everything equally, that's not what capitalism has told you to do. The capitalism has told you like be the one at the top and then treat everyone else like shit.
Mhm.
So when you're collective that way, like there are challenges that it presents within kind of the current socioeconomic or socioeconomic climate, but like it's really rewarding to be able to do it together and to succeed together. You have a group of people to like celebrate the wins with and to navigate the losses with as well.
I wanted to also see, we are talking about your voice and, different ways like going from soft to scream almost. And I wanted to see when your vocal journey started, kind of how it started. If you ever were in choir or, a little like off to the side extracurricular voice stuff growing up, or how has your voice developed since?
I think I'm very much still learning how to use my voice. I have a lot to learn about it. Like the one thing I've definitely realized is that I do think that being a singer is the worst. I think it's the most boring because you have to be so good and precious about it. Like everyone else in the band gets to put down their instrument and like walk away from it, whereas like I walk around with mine all the fucking time and everything I do affects it.
Mhm.
So I've really had to make some sacrifices and like concession, like just finally realizing like that's not good for me as as a vocalist, but I never wanted to be a vocalist in a band. I never wanted to sing in a band. I just wanted to be in a band. Like I just wanted to like play guitar and like write songs for someone else. I never thought I would be singing in a band. Um, yeah, like I think I like tried out for a school play. I did not get in. I was not in choir. I did ballet, which historically uses none of your voice. It's just all performance and body. So yeah, so like when the band first started, it was kind of like I just wanted to scream because I just was going through so much at the time. And that's what I did. I just screamed. But in my back of my head, I was like, oh, we'll find a different singer for this band. Like someone else will come along and I can write songs and I can just like give them to them. But that never happened. So slowly but surely I've had to discover my voice and how to use it. And, I think I'm I don't know. It is kind of exciting to do something that you didn't think you would do, and then you're learning a lot about like what you're capable of because you can learn how to use it. Like you can learn how to sing. It just takes a lot of, focus and dedication.
I also kind of wanted to see, just in terms of like a journey as a performer, kind of your approach to stage presence and audience interaction and kind of what that looks like.
When I was like in my more formative years of going to shows, like late teens, early 20s, like I started to realize that the best performers were the ones who didn't hold back at all on stage, who just like looked so natural up there and like they were very clearly kind of purging something through the experience of being on stage, of being so confident up there. And that the worst shows I saw were the ones where the band members looked as though they'd rather be anywhere else. Like just looked so bored performing their songs, looked so bored, playing a show. And to me at that time, I was like, wow, like what a privilege to be on stage and like what a wasted opportunity to be up there looking like you'd rather be anywhere else. Like now I understand that like touring is really difficult and some people have performance anxiety and like, whatever. But coming from that era where it was very cool not to care, very cool not to pretend like you weren't having like you were too cool to like have any emotions. I just really wanted to turn that on its head and like really celebrate the space that we got to be in. Because I feel the most I feel like the most freedom that I feel in the course of my life when I get to be up on stage, acting however I want, saying whatever the fuck I want, saying things that I believe in. Like it's a remarkable opportunity. And so I wouldn't want to squander that opportunity by acting like a lazy sack of shit up there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I always say never let myself get too comfortable. So, last question. This one is related to your personal taste in music. I want to kind of see what you're listening to and if you have any first love artists.
I have so many first love artists that I continue to revisit and listen to all the time. I mean, like, I loved the Stooges growing up and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and I'm also excited about the Oasis reunion. Just like old punk and hardcore, like Rage Against the Machine. I've just like always been really attracted to heavy, aggressive music. It just does something to me that like makes me feel alive. That's not to say that I just like also absolutely love pop. Like at my core, I really feel like a songwriter. And so I really appreciate just like the craft of a beautifully written song. Lately, I think in the last like week, I've maybe listened to um MJ Lenderman just put out this album, and I think I've listened to Jake's song She's Leaving You maybe like 45 times. It's so good. Yeah, I'm someone who like really hyper fixates on songs. Like when I hear a song that is just, I get obsessed with. I'll listen to it like 100 times in a week. Like, I think I listened to the song Juna by Clairo like 100 times in 1 week. It was just like really, it was just making me feel good. It was like making me feel like light and sexy and happy. So yeah, I'm like constantly swinging all around. But sometimes there's a lot of times where I listen to nothing. So like I'm like I will like silence my mind completely, especially if I'm working on writing music. I don't really like to listen to a lot of music. But yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been like just, I think I listened to Champagne Coast by Blood Orange like 75 times,
Yes.
all over the place.
I love it. So, in between like extreme to other extreme and then a little cleanse.
Mhm.
Everything. Well, thank you so much, Missy. It was great to meet you. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to us. We're very excited and we'll see you on your tour coming up in a week.
Yes, start soon. And we'll see you soon.